When a young woman comes into your offices to look at available condominiums on the market, ready to buy her first home, what is she really purchasing? Is it the trendy up and coming neighborhood? Is it the new granite countertops in their kitchen? No, she's seeking the experience of home ownership. Since she was 5 years old, her father has been telling her about how he built the family home from the ground up. Her parents worked all their lives to send her to a great college and to teach her the responsibility and dedication of being a productive member of society. She is looking to create a home to celebrate her independence and to lay the foundations for the rest of her financial and personal life. She's looking for the pride and fulfillment of sliding her shining key into the lock of her front door and knowing that she's arrived home. So, do you show her the two-bedroom at the top of her price range, the one with the highest profit margin for you? Or do you show her a few one-bedrooms in the middle of her price range, the ones that will give her the style and luxury she's seeking while also leaving her a cushion of security and a lower monthly mortgage? You might be able to approve of her of a costlier package, but perhaps the best step with her current assets and credit rating is to make a more conservative investment. So you appeal to both her eagerness to move forward and take a step with her life and her need to do it securely. You make the sale and you become her trusted advisor. You didn't just sell her a condo, you protected her. She is now your client. And when she's ready to upgrade to the two bedroom, she'll come to you again. And guess where she'll bring her new husband when it's time to buy a plot of land outside the city and build the house in the suburbs with a white picket fence. And eventually, when she and her husband want to help their son buy a starter home, well, you get the picture. Uh, so today, this is again another concept by J. Abraham that I read. Of course, it's a popular concept which is lifetime value. But when I read Jay for the first time and understood his point of view, it made so much more sense that lifetime value is not just about the numbers, but also about the philosophy because of which the people are coming back to you again and again. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. Over here, he calls this the strategy of preeminence, which is essentially to be the person at the very best who's the champion of their customer, who is the top of line of in their business and in their line of industry. And what that does is for every person that they work with, right, their customers, their clients, they are essentially being their protector in that particular industry, and that causes a ripple effect down the line, because that builds a strong reputation, that builds a strong brand, that builds loyalty towards your services, and which allows them to keep coming back again and again and again, as and when they require your services in the future, right? And that's what LTV, or lifetime value of the customer, comes from. Because if the customer is not coming back to you again and again, there is no lifetime value, right? So there needs to be a way to get them to come back to you, and that way cannot be just flashy sales campaigns or just like random things that you do to the kind of get the same customers again and again. It has to be more sustainable than that. It has to be more than just small short-term campaigns that you run. It has to be part of your DNA and your culture at your company, and once that's established, everything else kind of flows from there. So Jay has put it beautifully as part of his strategy of preeminence. It's the best way that I've heard someone articulate the idea of selling and the idea of doing business overall, right? So I'm gonna, of course, I'm not gonna read the entire thing. I'm gonna pick out the best parts that allow me to kind of riff off on it. Now, I love this quote that Jay shared. Uh, is he going to create a thing which will help people, or is he only going to create something to sell to people? This is a quote by Henry Ford. There's a vast difference in the approach. If you set out to make something which will help people, then you have to plan slowly and surely, trying out as you go along until you have what you believe is right. then and not until then have you anything worthwhile making. So anything that you do has to come from this idea of helping someone and not just for selling something to someone, right? When it comes from this idea of helping someone, uh, the meaning of it changes, the way you communicate changes, the way you share about it changes, and of course once you start doing that, people around you also change their way of articulating it as well, right? I'm using the word articulation a lot because it is really important, and I've mentioned it in one of my videos earlier, where sometimes just the articulation, the right articulation of someone's feelings, pains, fears, dreams, something that they can't themselves do, and an outsider, a third person, comes and does that for them, that itself creates value. It creates immense value, and that in itself uh, builds a level of trust between the person, the third person, and the customer or the client. And it the seeds of change kind of are sown just there, right? Once you understand the person so intrinsically that they themselves could not put words to their thoughts, and someone else comes and does that, that is like a very quick way to get to their heart and influence them slightly, nudging them into the right direction, because now they understand, they know that, hey, like this person is speaking my language and they probably know how to solve this problem better than I have or I would, right? And that's why this whole thing kind of comes around. Now, some people, some business people out there seem to rocket to success with minimal effort and abundant joy. And there are others who wallow in mediocrity, unable to break free from the daily grind. What's the difference? More often than not, it's not a discrepancy in skill sets or talent or resources. It's that some people have adopted an optimized philosophical strategy. Some people some people are just playing catch up, not really thinking about their lives and goals from a specific strategic vantage point. Now, uh, you really have to understand what philosophy is over here and why it matters, because all of this kind of ties together, right? And probably I'll share more detail in like a mini short course or something like that. But the vantage point, the philosophical idea is, it gives you a point of view to think, right? So a philosophy is simply that, it's like a hook in your head that allows you to see, it's like a lens in your head that allows you to see the world through it, right? So it gives you a way to uh, discern the world around you and make sense of it in a manner that helps you as well as other people around you, right? Sometimes, so for example, the same situation could have two different philosophical point of view. For example, if someone steals from me, one thing, I could cry about it and I could be really sad about it, and suppose they take away my phone, right? And I could just cry about it. So, I could just feel pity and feel victimized and all of that. So that's one way to think about it. Second way to think about it could be that, uh, oh, it was just a phone. I'm glad it was not something more important, right? Or oh, it was just a cheap phone. I'm glad that I did not have something more valuable in my hand at that moment, right? So again, same situation but different point of view. Of course, it does not apply everywhere, or the example itself is very uh, simplistic at its best, but the idea of philosophy is undeniably important. So once you have a way to think about the situation, a way to think about your business, a way to think about your life and the situations in your life, that's when that's when you're able to improve and progress your life in a meaningful way, right? Otherwise, it becomes really difficult. So Over here, Jay is talking about that particular philosophy that has guided him, and he's trying to teach you further, which he's calling the strategy of preeminence. Um, so yeah, so at the core of strategy of preeminence is diligently and with self-discipline, changing your focus from me to you. So I'll say that again. At the core of strategy of preeminence is diligently and with self-discipline, changing your focus from me to you. This is the key that anyone in business can use to unlock hidden potential, whether you're an employee of the corporation or you own your own business. This strategy is what will make you stand out in the hearts and minds of your employees or your employer, your clients, and yourself as the very best there is at what you do. So, the idea is again to not think about your own needs as a business owner, as a person who's doing this to earn money, but rather to shift your focus to the other person and focusing on them. What do they need? What are the problems they're facing? What are the fears they're facing? And how do I solve it for them? How do I ease it for them? Right? And when you do that, when you come from that point of empathy, that real uh, real empathy, it allows you uh, to build that relationship so much faster, right? Because you've actually thought about the other person rather than yourself or your own needs. Preeminence is the ability to put your client's needs ahead of your own every single time. Preeminence is the ability to put your client's needs ahead of your own ahead of your very own every single time, right? So that is what Jay is talking about over here. Now, he doesn't stop over there. If you notice, I'm talking about a client again. Again, I'm not calling it a customer, and Jay is very focused on explaining why is that. So he says that a customer, the definition of a customer is a person who purchases a commodity or a service, whereas a client is a person who is under the protection of another. Okay, so a customer is a person who purchases a commodity or a service, whereas a client is a person who is under the protection of another, right? Another person, another firm, another company, and so on. So he says that this isn't a vocabulary lesson. I'm not saying that everyone should immediately stop using the word customer. In fact, in fact, if that's the word you usually use, stick with it. This isn't about semantics, it's about shifting your thought process. As I said, it's about the philosophy, that it isn't about semantics, that you don't need to have that you don't need to change the word from customer to client in your business. What you need to do is shift your perspective about who is a client, who's a customer. Are you working with a client, are you working with a customer, do you want to work with a client, do you want to work with a customer, and so on, right? It's about shifting your thought process, thinking about the same situation, same person buying from you, same person receiving your service, but thinking about it in a different way. Is that person who's buying from me, am I helping them, am I protecting them, am I making sure that they feel safe in making this particular decision? Is this life altering decision gonna hamper them in the coming months, years, or have I made sure that I've protected them from all the key issues that face this, right? So for small things like um, you know uh, I mean, suppose I'm buying a cake, right? Again, these are examples that I'm coming up on my own, but suppose I'm buying a cake, and uh, rather than buying a chocolate cake, I go for a vanilla cake. But the shopkeeper is smart enough and is uh, kind enough in a way that he asks, hey, like, when is it that you're gonna use the cake? Is it gonna be an hour from now, or is it gonna be 10 hours from now, right? Are you gonna keep it in the fridge or not? That is, do you have access to a fridge or not? And based on those things, right, he might suggest that, hey, if you are going to use it 10 hours later, and you don't have a fridge or a refrigerator, then it's better to go for chocolate, because the cream of the vanilla melts away very quickly and it won't look really good. even tastes good by that time. So it's better you go for chocolate, it stays longer and blah blah blah, right? And so that person, that shopkeeper, even if the chocolate is, I don't know, 50 rupees more expensive than what I was planning to buy, I feel protected because at least I won't have to face that uh, humiliation to see a cake that I bought, you know, uh, not in good shape for the person whose birthday it was or whose anniversary it was, and so on. So that is the shift in perspective, right? They might be doing it out of, and they were totally fine selling me a vanilla cake also. They did not have to ask me two or three more additional questions, but because they asked, because they cared, it really helped me in my situation. And so there's a really good possibility and probability, if their food is good, their service definitely was good, there's a really good chance that I will go there again for the next cake that I need in my life, right? So it this isn't about semantics, it's about shifting your thought process. It's fine to talk about customers, but you've got to start thinking in terms of clients. And you've got to take the shift in thought a step further, from selling customers to serving clients. From selling customers to serving clients. That's the idea that Jay is trying to hone into us through his strategy of preeminence, or this philosophy. What does it really mean for a client to be under your protection? It means that your job isn't to sell them a product or a service once and then disappear without concern for the outcome the client obtained from the sale. When a client is under your protection, it is your responsibility to fully understand the client's needs, to feel their pain, so that you can advise them on how best to meet their needs. If you can deeply appreciate your client's situation, and beyond that, if you can articulate the situation better than the client can himself or herself, you'll be in a position to recommend a product or service that will resolve the problem. First, you understand the problem, then you determine the outcome required to solve the problem, then you lead the client to that outcome. That's not selling, that's serving. You've gone beyond doing business with the client, you've become their trusted advisor for life, and that's why they'll keep returning to you again and again. Right? So first you understand the problem, then you determine the outcome required to solve that problem, and then you lead the client to that outcome. That's not selling, that's serving, right? So again, it's when you think of it this way, the selling part, the the uh, I don't know, the persuasion part, all of that becomes super easy because now you're genuinely interested in the client's life and their welfare, and you genuinely believe that whatever solution that you have to offer may actually be the real thing to solve their needs, to solve their problems. And when you do that, then there's no uh, then there's strong alignment between what you're doing, the action of actually persuading or selling your program, or whatever you're selling, to the alignment, the actual value that the client gets, right? And that allows you to feel good about yourself. Your conscience is clear. You are in a stronger business yourself, right? So all of that really matters, and at the end of the day, that is what business is, and that's what I love teaching, because it's not just about making money. Making money can get really boring and really hectic and really uh, sad at times, because you become miserable in just running behind that money. But at the same time, it's not a bad thing to earn money ethically when you have the right philosophical point of view about your clients, right? If you're ripping someone off, then that's not good. But at the same time, if you're really helping someone, making sure you're doing the best you can to help someone through your work, through your product, through your uh, service, then that is ethical business, through which you should generate as much money as you can while serving the people, as while serving as many people as you can. So yeah, so that is what the strategy of preeminence is. uh, Now there are a lot of other things over here, but I'm not gonna do that. uh, The enduring relationship you need to cultivate, the love relationship, to continue the analogy, is with your clients. All right. I'll read this out very interestingly, and then I'll explain it. The biggest mistake people make in any business is that they fall in love with the wrong thing. They become enamored with their idea, with their entrepreneurship, with the numbers, with their goals, with themselves. They fall in love with the product or the service they're offering. They fall in love with their company culture or mission statement. All of those are worthy things to feel passionate about. You should be in a passionate relationship with your business. You should be thoroughly convinced of its value and its uniqueness, but you should only date it, not love it, right? So, this is your business. You should only date your business, not love it. The enduring relationship you need to cultivate, the love relationship, is with your clients. This isn't a pep talk about providing great service, valuable guarantees, efficient deliveries, or a friendly atmosphere. Yes, all of these things are necessary and critical, but let's face it, you've heard all of that before. Falling in love with your client is something more. It means that you're willing to accept responsibility for them as their protector, their trusted advisor for life. It means that you're ready to put their interests ahead of your own. Falling in love with your client has nothing to do with flashy marketing or sales schemes or empty promises. It's not about putting a false face and pretending to be someone's best pal. Those worn out unethical practices won't even be a possibility for you if you're honestly seeking to perform in every way that benefits your clients first and foremost. You have to be ready to stop asking, how do I get people to buy, and start asking, what do I have to give? How do I solve their problems? Right? So you have to be ready to stop asking, how do I get people to buy, and start asking, what do I have to give? How do I solve their problems? And as simple as it sounds, you'll get back what you put in. As you channel your resources into making your clients' lives abundant and prosperous, you'll be forging a lifetime of relationships with them. The relationship with them. The more successful they grow, the more they'll contribute to your business, and the more successful you'll grow. Right? So it's very simple. The more successful they grow out of your service, the more they'll contribute to your business, and as a result, the more successful you'll grow. See yourself as the ultimate value contributor to your client's well-being, right? So uh, this is what the idea of dating your own business and falling in love with your clients is. Falling in love with your clients is the most important thing, because that's when you care about the other person so much more than yourself, right? So you take a back seat, and you put your mind and your selfish nature, and it is nature, it is natural and instinctual. So you put that on the back seat, and you really take care, you really empathize with the other person, you really uh, understand what they're coming from, where they're coming from, what they're going through, what they might face in the future, and so on. And you're trying to identify the problems in their life, and then solve those problems before you even have thought of they even have realized that they might have that problem, right? And when you do that, you are really taking care of them, you're really creating value in their life. And uh, I could not have said anything better than what Jay have said. Stop asking, how do I get people to buy? I know I've been a culprit of this. I keep thinking that I go into this selfish behavior, but this is just a great reminder for myself that I need to start asking, and you need to start asking, what do I have to give? How do I solve their problems, right? So when I start doing that, when I shift my focus from me to you, it becomes easier. It becomes like I will have the solutions quite easily, compared to what I was uh, compared to when I was thinking about it selfishly. The preeminent business person always have to be prepared to answer one pivotal question, right? And this is a really pivotal question, because it has a lot of implications. And the question is this: so what? Right? So every preeminent business person needs to answer this question, which is, so what? This is just two words and a question mark ahead of it. At any point in time, you should be prepared to hear your clients ask, so what? And you should know exactly how to respond, right? Because everything that you do, everything your clients does, they will keep asking this question, so what? Right? For example, so you have the largest collection of imported luxury cars in the city, so what? So your team of technicians can outfit a convention room with a sound system in under 3 hours. So what? This is your, how do you kind of deliver value to them, basically, right? So every claim that you're making, you also need to add the additional this question in front of it so that you can answer it. So your dry cleaning shop has never lost a garment in 5 years of operation. So what? Preeminence is about constantly reimagining your business from the client's perspective. Yes, you've got to have a great product, great service, great deals, and great track record. So what? What's in it for them, for your clients? And that's what you have to figure out, right? Everything that you do, whatever greatness that you have, you still need to keep asking the question, so what? What is it that, what's in it for them, and how do they flourish from it? When it comes down to it, your clients make the choice to come to you. Whenever a problem arises for them, they have four choices. They can absolutely do nothing about it, they can choose an alternative method, they can buy a solution from your competition, or they can buy a solution from you, right? So you have to figure out the answer to this question, so what? And that is how they will come to you again and again. What they want to know is that you, unlike your competitors, understand how they live their lives. That you can see the transaction from their perspective. That you can provide value no one else has been willing or able to bring to the table. So the question is, what they want to know, the answer to this, so what, is what they want to know is that you, unlike your competitors, understand how they live their lives, that you can see the transaction from their perspective, that you can provide value no one else has been willing or able to bring to the table. You can distill your answer to the question, so what, into three simple steps. Acknowledge your client's concerns about taking action. Clearly state your confidence about the solution that you're offering. And third, ensure a long life for your relationship by explaining how you can continue to add value to the transaction, right? So when you answer this, so when you've taken these two things into account, which is strategy of preeminence, to start rethinking your relationship with your clients or your customers, and second, to answer this question again and again, so what question, to add value, to understand and articulate the value that you create for the people that you're trying to serve. Once you've done both of these things and you've really taken it in and implemented it, that's when we come to this concept of LTV, or lifetime value, something that has been so popular and literally widely accepted today in every business, especially the D2C or e-com businesses. Lifetime value and CAC, which is customer acquisition cost, these two terms have become synonymous to these businesses, and it's really funny to think of it. Um, but yeah, at the end of the day, it is something worthwhile to cover, because lifetime value is what allows a business a competitive edge, right? It allows the business to make sure and to know that the customers or the clients that they've served, they will continue to come back to us, and how frequently they'll come back to us, and how much money we expect to make out of them, right? Again, in a positive sense. And that allows us to make better investments, that allows us to make better, bolder bets, that allows us to move into different industries or verticals from there. And so all of that is really valuable. So the lifetime value of the client is a calculable sum, right? So I'm gonna explain the equation, and then I'm gonna break it down for you. So here's the equation broken down into steps. Calculate your average sale or your profit per sale and your profit per sale, right? So average sale nikalna hai. Average sale, we have to take it out, and then second is your profit per sale. Then calculate how much additional profit a client is worth to you by determining how many times he or she can come back to buy again. Third, calculate precisely what a client costs you by dividing your marketing budget by the number of by the number of uh, clients it yields, right? This is called CAC, or the customer acquisition cost. The calculate precisely what a client costs by dividing your marketing budget by the number of clients it yields. Fourth, calculate the cost of a prospect the same way, right? The prospect is people, the potential clients. Fifth, calculate how many sales you get from get for so many prospect, the percentage of prospect who convert to client. That means how many sales you get for so many prospects. Then last one, sixth, calculate the lifetime value of a client by subtracting the cost to convert the client from the profit you expect to earn from the client over the lifetime of his or her patronage, right? Um, Here's what it looks like in practice. I have a client who brings in $6 million a year of air conditioning and heating maintenance repair work. 2 times a year, he does a mailing to all his existing clients and puts out an advertising to prospects offering a $19.95 tune-up for the heating or air conditioning system. He offers the heating maintenance just before the winters and the air conditioning maintenance just before summers. The labor actually costs him about $30, but he offers it at $19.95. Now, is there something wrong with him? Why would he be willing to lose more than $10 on every client who responds? Well, he's run the test on his strategy and he knows that he'll discover a problem with 50% of his respondent systems, right? So that means 50% of people who take that tune up will, he might discover a problem with them. That usually results in a minimum of additional $125 service charge, right? So what he's done is he's taking a hit at the beginning, but he knows that he'll cover it up if when those 50% people have a problem, and when he charges them the additional service charge to fix those problems. And he's able to perform that service right at the time of the tune-up. He's also discovered that 50% of first-time respondents convert to repeat clients. Half of his revenue, half of his business, over $2.5 million coming in from new clients, is a direct result of the $10 risk he takes, right? So he's done all of the calculations that, if I get in 10 people at $10 initially, two of them will buy and two of them will buy, say, $10 product, right? That means he's still losing. Okay, so let me give you a quick example so that you understand it better. How this can function is very simple. Lifetime value is quite a simple concept to understand. What we need to check is, what we need to do is say 5 years. 5 years is, say, the lifetime of value that we're trying to gather over here. Of course, that totally depends on what kind of business you have or want to run. But if I say 5 years, that's long enough for the client or the customer to stay, right? Suppose I attract 100 prospects, right? So I run an ad, and that ad lead gives me like 100 leads. These are now interested people, right, who are willing to buy the product that I'm sell, right? So it takes me, say, 100 rupees or $100 to get these 100 leads. So $1 per lead. Now, out of these 100, only 50% buy. When those 50% buy, they buy my product for, say, $10 each. That means I'm earning $10 on each of those 50, right? And that makes me $5,000 overall, right? So I'm already up. Whatever $100 that I spent, I've already covered that through this 50% of the people that have come on board, right? And so now we have, no, sorry, my bad. I think it was a $10 product, so it comes down to 500. So yeah, 500. So 500 minus 100. Now I have a profit or a gross margin of $400. Now, even within this 50, there are people, and I will gather that data over time. Say over the course of a couple of months, I will have that data that out of this 50 people, there might be 10 people or 20 people who come back to me again and again more frequently, right? So they might come back to me every month and buy more of my product, right? So each one, suppose 10 people are coming back every month and buying the $10 product that I'm selling, so that is additional $100 every month. And say if I track that down for 5 years, this means that in 5 years I will have 120. So 10 to 10 into 10, 100 into 12 is 1200 into 5 is 6,000. So that is $6,000 that I get just from the monthly conversion, plus I had the 500 that I had initially. So 6,500 minus the initial cost of $100. So my lifetime cost, or the lifetime value of the customers now, is essentially about approximately $6,400, right? For every $100 that I spend, which allows me to really invest much more into my marketing, because now I can put in, instead of $100, I can now put in $200, I can now put in $500, and I will know, because of this funnel, because of this system, what will I make on the number of leads that I'm getting, right? So if for $500 I'm getting 500 leads, I will 5 times the lifetime value of my customers over time, right? And that is a valuable number to understand, because that allows me to invest accordingly into my assets and resources, right? I can invest into marketing, I can invest into my distribution, I can invest into my inventory, I can invest into my supply chain, and so on and so forth. So all of that really helps once we know the lifetime value of the customer. But to get to the lifetime value of the customer, we really had to understand the two concepts behind it, which is the so what question, because everywhere we have to ask so what, so that we are adding value and articulating that value to the customer and through the customer's lens, right? And we're able to justify what we're doing and why we're doing it and how we're doing it through the lens of the customer. And once we've done we are able to do that when we are only able to do that when we approach all of this from the perspective of strategy of preeminence. And the strategy of preeminence forms the foundation of all of this going forward, because it is the philosophical foundation of transitioning from thinking about the business selfishly and thinking about the business in a way that how do I make someone buy this, and shifting it to how do I add value to the other person or the customer or the client that I have, or how do I really serve them, help them solve a major problem in their business or in their life through what I'm serving and through what I have to offer, right? And that really allows them to build that foundational discipline, that way of thinking, and not just for you but for the entire company. And when we start thinking it that way, our way of articulating, our way of selling, our way of communication, our way of reaching out to people, all of that changes and shifts dramatically. And of course it creates a better work culture, because we're not harming someone and we are actually helping people out there, right? So that is what strategy of preeminence is, and the lifetime value of customers is. I hope you enjoyed this. We are going to be covering more such concepts, the business concepts, in the ongoing videos that I'll be sharing. If you want to keep getting those details, please follow and subscribe below, and put down in the comments what did you like about this and what would you hear more from me on, right? And I will see you in the next one.